Hey everyone, and welcome to my June TBR Assemble. We're heading into June now, so it's time to talk about my June TBR. If you don't know what TBR Assemble is, it is essentially my Avengers-based TBR game. I don't really have any kind of readathon or anything I'm doing this month, so let's just get right into the roles and exactly what I'm going to be reading. So today, because it is Ironheart month and I do not have an Ironheart at the moment, though I am seeking to change that soon, I'm going to be using a Shuri as well as an Iron Man. So let's get going. We're going to start with Shuri and we are going to be starting on 73, which is where we were last time. So let's go. Roll number 1. That is a 3. So 1, 2, 3. That is blue. That is the Space Stone, which means that is sci-fi. And we're going to go this little bit here, and that is She's Got Help, a new female author. Gonna have fun figuring that one out. My first prompt was She's Got Help, which is to read a new to me female sci-fi author, so I'm going for Kate Dillon and Mindbreaker. Now, admittedly, this is not going to be a completely brand new author to me because I have read the first book in this series, Mindwalker, but I am so excited to continue on with it, and it's the only book I've ever read by Kate Dillon, so I'm counting her as a new to me author still because I've only ever read the one book. But that book was absolutely fantastic and I adored it. It read so much like a Marvel movie, which I really enjoyed. It was about corrupt companies, AIs trying to survive, all of this kind of thing. The AI itself was called Jarvis, which greatly amused me, I won't lie. And now I've been desperate to read the sequel ever since. I got it for Christmas. It is now on my summer priority TBR, so I am finally getting it read and I cannot wait to get started. Roll number 2 is a 2, and I have just realised how close we are to the top, so let's see if we can get to the top. So we're going to go 1, 2, fanfiction, perfect, and then we're going to be swapping out Shuri for Tony because we're only going to do maybe 4 rolls this month just because I don't have that much time. Let's go for the next roll, and that is a 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That is fanfiction again, so we go over 1, which means we are on the time stone, which means comics. That was a terrible fan. Let's try again. It's gonna go this bit here, and I'm gonna go for this one. Milena, a scientist main character. That could not be more perfect. I'm reading all of the Ironheart I can get my hands on, and she is definitely a scientist. Perfect. And then final roll, come on, please be more than a 2. 5, yes, perfect. We are at the top here. Avengers assembled. I can read whatever I want now. Get in there. My next prompt was fanfiction, which is just something I'm going to pick and choose whatever I fancy reading whenever I get time to read any. And then my final prompt before I reached the top of the Avengers Tower was Milena, which was to read a scientist main character comic. And this could not have come at a more perfect time because this month I'm going to be reading my entire Ironheart collection in time for the Ironheart TV show to come out. If you don't know who Ironheart is, she is a 16-year-old genius who creates her own basically Iron Man suit from scratch. She is an absolute genius. She's a superhero in her own right. She later becomes a champion and things like that. But this month I'm going to be going back to her origin stories with the Michael Bendis and Eve Ewing runs. I cannot wait to be rereading these ones or reading them for the first time, and I cannot wait to be back into Riri's world again. I adore her character so much. I've been saving these comics for years now, ever since it was announced that Riri was getting her own series in Ironheart, and now the series is finally coming out, so I'm finally going to read them and I cannot wait to get started. And because I reached the top of Avengers Tower, it means that I can now read whatever else I want for the rest of the month. So my plan is to read Wish You Were Her by Elle McNicoll, which is her latest book. This is a YA contemporary romance between a bookseller and an actress, if I remember rightly. I know there is definitely a bookseller involved and it's something to do with the TV film industry, but I can't remember further than that. I just saw that it was going to be another book by Elle McNicoll and it's going to feature autistic protagonists, so I immediately pre-ordered it. So I'm definitely going to be reading that one. And the other book I'm going to be reading is the one I'm most excited for because it's my most anticipated release of the year, and that is Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil by V.E. Schwab. Like, you have no idea how excited I am to finally be reading this book, because this book is about toxic lesbian vampires and it's written by V.E. Schwab, and then also it's actually inspired by Interview with the Vampire, which the TV show adaptation of is currently a hyperfixation for me. So I am so excited to finally be reading this book. I am practically counting down the days until it arrives. I am literally dropping everything to read it the second it drops through my door, and you have no idea how excited I am, because it's V. Schwab's latest book. It's about vampires and it's inspired by Interview with the Vampire. I am so ridiculously excited. I've got the feeling that this could rewrite my brain chemistry and I cannot wait to read it. I am so ridiculously excited about this. You can probably tell, but I am genuinely so excited about this book. I cannot even put it into words. I cannot wait to be reading this one. And then the other book that I'm really excited to read this month before I go into my audiobook choice is Everyone Wants to Rule the World Except Me by Django Wexler. It's the sequel to How to Become the Dark Lord and Die Trying, and it's actually going to be bookending my villains reading vlog, which, apologies, is now going to be late because this book is coming out at the end of May. I'm not going to have time to read it in May, so I'm moving into June, and I cannot wait to read it because I loved How to Become the Dark Lord so much, because it was about basically a hero who has been stuck in a time loop for the last like 1,000 years, trying to defeat the Dark Lord until one day she decides, bugger it, I'm not going to use this life trying to defeat the Dark Lord, I'm going to become the Dark Lord. And it was so much fun to read. It was absolutely hilarious. It reminded me so much of like Terry Pratchett and things in terms of the humour and the footnotes and everything else. The main character was absolutely hilarious. I adored her. I adored the storyline so much, and that last book left it on a massive cliffhanger, so I've been desperate for the sequel ever since. It is finally coming out and I cannot wait to read it. I am so ridiculously excited to see how Darby's story evolves and ends. I just cannot wait. I cannot wait to read this one, to say the least. And the final one on my list is my audiobook for the month, and that is going to be Interview with the Vampire by Anne Rice, because I decided, bugger it, I want to be reading this story while I'm reading Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil and really sort of immerse myself in toxic vampire stories, and it just sounds like so much fun. I've been meaning to read this story for a really long time now, ever since I started watching the Interview with the Vampire TV show, so I could kind of compare and contrast the TV show to the book to see how accurate it was and see what the original story entailed, everything else, and I am so excited to be doing that. I keep on saying this year is my year of the vampire and reading all my vampire books, and I'm finally getting started on that, and I cannot wait. And that is the end of my June TBR, so I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please do give me a thumbs up. Comment down below, tell me which book you've read off this list, I'd love to know. Or if you don't have that much time, leave me a vampire emoji down below to let me know that you were here. I'll also leave a link as well down below to all my social media if you want to check it out, including to my bookish Etsy store that sells bookish merch if you want to treat yourself to something bookish today. Or if you just want to see any more of my videos, please click subscribe here, and over here will be the link to my previous video. But until next time everyone, bye!